On President Trump's ban on visas for foreign Harvard students. Secretary of State Marco Rubio pointing to national security concerns after Harvard refused to provide details on illegal activity by foreign students or their ties to foreign governments. Joining us now is Fox News legal analyst Greg Jarrett. So this goes back to the power of the executive, and what they're really asking is to vet these students. Can a judge rule against this?
Well, I think this judge will, not necessarily based on the law, Lawrence. You know, the government, not universities, control immigration, and Congress delegated that power to the president. Specifically under the Immigration Act, he can suspend entry of foreign students if it is, quote unquote, detrimental to the interests of the U.S. So at Harvard, their own report, their own study incriminates them. It describes in clear detail the detriment, virulent anti-Semitism targeting Jewish students, and allegedly foreign students were involved. So the administration logically shut down that program on the basis of safety and national security. But, you know, as I say, this judge, an Obama appointee who consistently rules against the Trump administration, intends to ignore all of that and issue an injunction. I do think, though, in the end, if the case goes to the Supreme Court, they'll side with the president. Why? Because they did so 7 years ago in a very similar case, upholding his authority, Lawrence.
So I guess the big question is, and honestly, it can be a question for many of the cases. Is there a way to skip this legal delay? Because that's what it is. They realize they're going to be overturned at the high court, but they want to delay the president's agenda. Is there a way to skip all of this nonsense and go straight to the Supreme Court for not just this case, but all of these other cases?
Yes. You know, if they lose on the injunction, as we think they will, the Trump administration can file an emergency petition before the Supreme Court, although I suspect SCOTUS would rather the intermediary appellate circuit court weigh in on this first. That's what happened, as I say, 7 years ago. But I think the point here is if universities do nothing to stop the anti-Semitism on campus, and if they refuse to protect students from harassment, as it occurred at Harvard and elsewhere, if they fail to comply with federal oversight, you know, look, Lawrence, they lose certain benefits, whether it's federal funding or visas for foreign students, because coming to the U.S. to study, that's a privilege. It's not a right. It's not a guarantee. And, you know, Harvard could have avoided all of this if it simply turned over the data to DHS that was requested, but they refused and decided to sue. So, you know, here we are.
Yeah, they care more about their ideology than the safety of their students on campus. Really sad. Thanks, Greg.
Right.